Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, and this is Transfers Live. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, who's very excited about the transfer window, the Premier League, the fact Manchester United are top of it. Joe Smith.
Top of the league.
Top of the league, mate. Not even joint top.
Not even joint top anymore. Not even having to pretend we're top, but really, someone scores 17 more goals than us. We are top, and there's no denying it now, Jay.
Top, mate.
And it's only going to get better, or worse.
What is it you say? Go on.
Better start believing in title races, Jay. You're in one. Right, and we are in one.
We're in one, and we're also in the middle of the transfer window.
Flip, so you wouldn't know it though, would you? The way United are carrying on.
No, there's not been a lot of incomings, but there has been some outgoings, including today, where we've had a transfer completed, an outgoing one. Tim Fosu-Mensah, who is quite well thought of by a lot of Manchester United fans. You think of him quite fondly, despite the fact he's barely played for the first team, if being brutally honest. He's completed his move to Bayer Leverkusen around the £1.8 million mark, I believe it is. Now, when I first saw this, I think at first it looked like it was 1.5 million. I was like, 1.5 million? What a bargain. You're getting a player from Manchester United who's only, what, is he 23, 24? It might not even be that old, actually. You know, mate, they've done well there, but he hasn't played a lot of football. No. He is somewhat injury prone. And if you look at it, since he burst onto the scene in like 2016...
What a burst it was, eh?
It was a massive burst. He went to Crystal Palace, didn't really work out for him there on loan. A certain Anna Wan-Bissaka ruined that for him, ruined it. Then he went to Fulham as well. Didn't really happen for him there. Relegation dogfight from the sort of get-go, and had injury problems. Came back to United, did his rehab, got back to, you know, full fitness, and then was a surprise inclusion, wasn't it, last season? At Sellers Park for the Crystal Palace game out of the blue. It was like Tim Fosu-Mensah's in the team, not even in the squad, straight in the team, and did well. But there's always this feeling that he was fourth, fifth choice type. Well, not even that. He's like the third or fourth option at right back, maybe. So you can understand why he's gone. Joe, what do you make of this move? Are you sort of not glad to see him go, but wishing well type tackle and, you know, such his life?
Wishing well, and I think it's the right thing for him. He wasn't going to be doing much more than he was doing. He wasn't going to keep starting games. He wasn't, as you said, anywhere near the top of, you know, the list of choices for United. So understandably, he's leaving. Like I said, that it says there, 1.8 million. Leverkusen beat off competition from fellow Bundesliga side Hertha Berlin, as well as Ajax and Marseille. So there's a lot of people after him, and you know he's a very well-known player. He's like you said, been around a little bit, and despite not being particularly old, has you know, played for a few different teams. It'll be interesting, and hopefully he can get his career back on track, because he was so highly rated, so well thought of at United, coming through the ranks. One of those players that was just, I think, you know, physically notoriously ahead of his years in terms of his development and his speed, and his sort of footballing brain as well was meant to be just as good. But it's a shame that, as it happens with so many people, just injuries have got in the way of everything, haven't they? And you know, we've sort of seen that with a few United players at the minute who seem to be on the fringes of leaving, and Phil Jones being another one. But yeah, hopefully it works out for him. 1.8 million, not much of a risk for Leverkusen, is it? You know, even by, I know Bundesliga, they don't spend quite as much as they do in England, but 1.8 million isn't much money for anyone these days. You see Championship teams spending, you know, 10 times more than that on players. So good deal for them if it works out. Not too big a risk for them either, but also a decent, well thought of, you know, relatively big name team as well for him to join to try and make a career, make a name for himself. So a good move all around, I think.
No, I agree. Just looking at his sort of stats here. Guys, do get involved in the comments as well. Do hit the like button, give us a like, and let us know what you think about TFM, whether you're sad to see him go, whether you think it's the right move, all that sort of stuff. We want to hear your opinion.
Sorry, someone, James Flannery there, says should have got at least 10. We don't get 10 million for anyone.
No, we couldn't
get 10 million for Wayne Rooney.
Was it like Chicharito went for about 10 when he was scoring
ridiculous
like a goal every other game, and he was like 24 or whatever it was. You look at Fosu-Mensah's stats, when he came on into the sort of first team in 2015, 2016, he played a total of 10 games. Now, I think it was it against West Ham? I'm probably getting this completely wrong, but bear with me. In the FA Cup quarter-final, was it? Where he was in midfield, I think, and he absolutely dominated the game. In the semi-final, he gave away that penalty, didn't he? Which Romelu Lukaku missed, and I think that's the last time David De Gea saved a penalty, by the way. And Louis van Gaal substituted him, and then just scratched his name out of his his team book.
Yeah,
it was like, I don't ever want to hear from you again. And then he went on. There was loan moves to talk about to Palace and to Fulham. And, he's never played more than 8 Premier League games for Manchester United. And I know he's only 23, but, like I say, he first came into the team 5 years ago. So it makes sense all round.
I don't think anyone's saying that that we shouldn't have sold him.
No.
The only contention seems to be the fact that 1.8 million is quite cheap. But doesn't his deal end in the summer as well? So it's not as though
I think you're right.
There's still 4 or 5 years left on his deal.
He turned down a deal, didn't he?
Yeah.
Let's look one thing straight as well. The club offered him an extension. I don't know the nature of that, sort of the finances behind it all, but they did offer him a new deal, and he turned it down. Now, that might have been the money, it might have been the fact that he knew he wasn't going to get many games, or they might have said to him, listen, here's a new deal, but you are going to be my sort of 3rd or 4th choice. And let's not forget as well, he's 23, so he's not old, but also you might look at it and see the likes of Brandon Williams coming through, Ethan Laird, who has gone on loan to MK Dons, isn't going to be that far away, I think.
Also linked with the likes of Kieran Trippier, Max Aarons, who, Trippier may have fallen by the wayside now with his gambling ban, but we're clearly after someone in that position, and that clearly isn't Fosu-Mensah, is it? So
no,
it's a shame to see him go, because he's been one of those names that, and it's a different era, but James Wilson was another one where you go, so promising. He gets 40 goals a year for the youngsters, then he has his knee problem, never quite makes it the way you want him to, and I can't remember where he's at now, I saw the other day.
He went to Salford then for a bit.
So
still
at
Salford.
So, but not that I think Fosu-Mensah is probably a bigger talent than him, but there's a lot of players that come through the youth team, look so exciting, and injuries play a part. Even as teenagers, you start seeing injury-prone players. So it's unfortunate, but I think everyone can agree it's probably a good signing. Abhishek Paddy with the super chat. He says, Eder Militao is available on loan from Real Madrid. Could be an excellent short-term solution for centre-back. Highly rated and fast. Also, about time Pugimal is played. Let's go with Militao. Do you think Real Madrid would loan out a centre-back that is ace, for instance?
No, I don't, in answer to that question. And also, do I think he comes into the side and is a better option for us than any one of Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, Eric Bailly, Axel Tuanzebe?
Yeah.
No.
No, I agree with you.
I don't. And so at best, he's going to be 5th choice.
Yeah.
So what is the point in that?
A decent centre back.
I'm not knocking the lad for suggesting it.
No,
because it's a good,
story.
He's a good player, and I get why you're asking that question.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening. I think the only way a defender or centre back comes into Manchester United is if it's a world class, sort of amazing centre back who's automatically leapfrogs over Bailly, Lindelof and Tuanzebe. Yeah. And I don't think Militao is that lad.
We don't need backup centre-backs. We've
got enough of
a
them,
starting centre-back whenever one becomes available. And we'll be talking a little bit about a potential one later in the show as well. Kalidou Koulibaly has been mentioned. Kalidou, yeah. I think so. Kalidou Koulibaly has been mentioned, has been brought up again in terms of Manchester United. We'll get to that later on. But I don't think if we're going to be going for a centre-back, it is with the risk of tasting my own words here, a Real Madrid reject.
A Real Madrid
I mean,
reject.
They only bought him, what was it, last summer. So they bought him 18 months ago. They're already loaning him out. Like, I'm sure he's good and he's talented and he's quick and he's got all these things, but Real Madrid bought him 18 months ago and they're trying to get rid of him already.
That stinks of something that would be...
Let's see what we're seeing here.
A disaster for Manchester United. No disrespect to the lad, but I can see him coming here, having a poor first game and then being thrown under the bus and being forgotten about. Just going to look at the comments. Jacob OC says, Eder Militao is a great centre-back. Alex Bionic Squint says, Wilson is doing good at Salford. And Charlie Hobbs says, Man United are a massive club and there is so much competition. Feels like ages that we've said that. Ross Murphy says, don't pay 100 million for him. He's nearly coming up to 30. Talk about Koulibaly. We'll be getting into him a little bit later on.
Yes.
One player who also could be going out the door, I mentioned Fosu-Mensah, is Mr. Jesse Lingard. J-Lings, the artist formerly known as J-Lings. Now, it's weird, isn't it? Because... How old's Jesse? He's about 27, 28?
27 or 28.
27, yeah. Should be at his prime.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't that long ago he was playing in World Cup semi-finals. No. Scored 2 goals in cup finals for Manchester United, the League Cup final and the FA Cup final, the winner in the FA Cup final. Yeah, he's almost like completely the forgotten man. And it's not even injuries, really, is it? Because he's not really had any long-term injuries or anything serious. It's just lack of form and maybe confidence. And it's just not happening for him at all at Manchester United. He played the other night, didn't he, against Watford in the FA Cup. See, memory.
That's my United fan right there.
I always remember the games.
Yeah.
All of them.
6 days ago.
Yeah. It's an achievement for me, that. Well played against Watford, played 70 minutes, I think, against Watford.
Yeah.
And, played against Leicester at the back end of last season, and those are I can't remember him playing any other games in recent memory.
Not particularly.
I played a few in the Europa as well, back end of last season. So he's been linked with several moves.
Yes.
Also, we spoke to Laurie Whitwell today, talking about that on a members video. He was telling us a little bit about Jesse Lingard as well, and he's same opinion as us. Good player. Shame what's happened to him, but a move could be the right thing. Now, he was linked with a move to Sheffield United, and Laurie told us that wasn't happening. Jesse didn't fancy it, and you can understand why, can't you? Yeah. Because no disrespect to Chris Wilder or Sheffield United in general, but to be polite, you've got an uphill struggle to stay up.
That's basically Jesse Lingard. If he goes to Sheffield United, he's playing in the Championship next season.
Yeah.
That's what he's admitting, that he's a Championship level player who is getting a trial in the Premier League. And he's no offence to Sheffield United, he's better than that. He shouldn't be going to it. Maybe you go to Newcastle or Crystal Palace or someone in the realms of those
stable,
that sort of section of the league where you sort of go, well, 15th ain't great, but you're not going to someone who's got 5 points all season.
No,
come on.
I mean, you're right, and again, no disrespect to Jesse Lingard as well. I don't think he's a Wilfred Zaha type player who goes in at Sheffield United and takes him up the table.
No,
he's not that sort of massive impact match winner that you need in their situation. I don't think they can get one of those players, otherwise they won't be in the situation they are. So his representatives, according to Sky Sports, have been holding talks with Nice. A loan move. Now, Jesse's had so many loan moves.
Yeah.
It is actually ridiculous. I'll have to bring this up because I can't even remember them all. We interviewed him on when we were full-time Devils. Yeah. We did one of his first ever interviews for anyone, was with us, when he was at Brighton and Hove Albion back in 2013. So he went to Leicester, he went to Birmingham City, he went to Brighton, he went to Derby. So he's had quite a few loan moves. The difference was he was like 18, 19, 20, 21 when he went on those loan moves. He's 27 now, and it's a bit of a shame that he's getting another loan move now. The only difference between that one and those ones is that this one you expect would lead to a permanent move.
This one is with a view to getting him out of the club, isn't it? Whereas those ones were with a view to getting him in the squad.
Yeah.
In the
and he battled as well, didn't he, Jesse? He battled because...
He's done loads of good stuff for United.
Yeah.
He's been a good player for United, and not everyone who, just because you're quite good, you're going to play the rest of your career at United. He's been at United for, I mean, I'm guessing, but at least 15... He's been there since he was a young lad, hasn't he? So probably close to 20 years, I'd have thought, at the club.
No, I think you're spot on. I think he was there.
He's done a good time at United, and the people who are going to come out and say, oh, wasn't Jesse Lingard meant to be the next this and that, or, what do you mean he's 27? I thought he was 18. All that shit that we've heard endless times about Jesse Lingard's some youth product who's still a young lad, and he's 28 now.
Just 27,
so, it's not to be sort of laughed at what he's done at Manchester United. And a lot of players who have come to Man United for a lot of money have done a lot less than he has. So I think, if Jesse does go and it is part of a plan to get him out permanently, then I think you can applaud Jesse Lingard rather than saying he was a failure at Manchester United. He's done a lot more than a lot of other players at United. So fair play to him. And if he needs a move, it's probably the right thing for him because he's not getting games at the minute, then fair enough. But yeah, I wouldn't say that Jesse Lingard was a failure at Manchester United by any stretch of the imagination.
No, as producer Cameron just pointed out, he's 28. On my Sky website that I was looking at, it's 27.
Your Sky website,
yeah,
is it?
I own it.
Good
I am Rupert Murdoch. Yeah, we look at
Sky J over here.
Oh, hey, Jay Sky, me mate. Well, I know it won't say. I think we're friends. He might disagree.
Yeah. He's been at United for 21 years, Jesse Lingard.
21 years, over 200 appearances as well, and he's won the FA Cup, he's won the League Cup, he's won the Europa League, he's won as many European trophies as Manchester City Football Club.
Yeah.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The big sky blue bastard losers.
Jesse haters.
You can use that insult on your brothers and your friends and your teachers.
Hey, I'm more to the point. He sat in a chip shop with Adam McCullough and spoke to him for an hour.
Chippy chat.
So I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for Jesse. Who can forget that winner against Crystal Palace? Come on. Hey, you were there, were you there?
Yeah, I was there, mate. Yeah. Pissed as a F-A-R-T.
Well, yeah.
I say pissed, but I won't say fart, that's weird. Drinking them cans of Kronenberg with Cantona's face on the front, all the way down on the train out.
Such a chav.
Go on, lads.
Go on, lads. I was in the
and then watched it, brilliant.
I was in the press box, and I sort of embarrassed myself a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah.
Jumped up and down, did you?
Yeah, I was trying out professional, and when Jesse scored, I started shouting and screaming.
Good.
More or less, almost got asked to leave.
I like how Pepsi Max Cherry is basically an Easter egg in every Stretford Paddock video now, isn't it? Look somewhere in every video, there will be a bottle of Pepsi Max Cherry somewhere in that video. Usually Jay's drinking it, but sometimes it's just tucked away in the background.
It's not easy quitting drugs, guys.
What's the drug in this case? Saccharin.
That's got no relevance to me quitting drugs whatsoever. I don't even know why I said it. But anyway, Jesse, it looks like he's going to Tunis. Let us know what you think about that. Yeah. Sad to see him go, happy to see him go. Do you think Jesse will be remembered fondly at Manchester United? Because there's a lot of hatred towards him, especially from some of the younger fans. And I can sort of understand it a little bit because last season, we were awful for parts of it.
Speak for yourself, mate.
Before Bruno arrived, I'm talking West Ham away, I'm talking Newcastle away, I'm talking Crystal Palace at home, I'm talking Watford away, I'm talking Bournemouth away. Yeah.
Yeah, we get it. There's quite a few examples of United being shit.
Yeah. Jay. Those weren't good games.
You have to rub it in.
Right? So it was awful. And Jesse and people like Andres Pereira seem to be the sort of people that epitomise that.
The fall guy.
Yeah, where you're looking, Jesse Lingard, this is why we're struggling. But you have to look past that. You have to look at the finals. We've mentioned the fact that, he did score those 2 cup finals. He did play in the Europa League final. So it hasn't been all bad. And if you care about that sort of thing, he was a regular for England when he got to the semi-finals of the World Cup. So can't be too bad. So look, we'll keep you posted on that. Looks like it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, I used to get a lot of stickers on Jesse because he was one of the few players who dared to try to make a brand for themselves, who dared to try to use social media. Come on, Jay.
Is it that?
Yeah, that'll do it.
Is it that? Oh, that's it, isn't it?
Took them away.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Do you not have that bit there?
No.
There's just that bit?
Yeah.
I'm 40.
Yeah, and you're doing very well, I've told you. I'm really impressed by you recently, Jay. You're doing really well. Good lad. But yeah, he was one of the few players who he's got a brand, he does social media, he does Snapchat, fucking hell, it's all world's gone mad, 21st century, can't say anything these days. Those sorts of people didn't like him for that, and I think a lot of that was unfair. But yeah, fair play to Jesse.
Someone's made a good point as well. I like. Jay Spence says, Millie Rock at Emirates was Jesse Peak.
It was, wasn't it?
It was. What was the Millie Rock? Which one was that?
Jay, you're asking the wrong person. My favourite one was this one.
You know the Millie Rock. What's the Millie Rock?
My favourite one was this one.
What is it?
Come on, Jay. Come on, Jay.
That one? What's this one?
Flossing you.
Oh, right.
Drip.
So, mate, I don't know. I get
Jay,
this,
do the Millie Rock, quick.
What is it?
Skimming stones on a lake. Like, skimming stones. You're skimming stones on a lake.
Right, yeah?
Yeah, we're sad.
We're not.
Sad.
Hey, put that on your TikTok.
We're sad. Moving on. Amad Diallo has been unveiled at United.
Yes, he has.
Finally.
The one signing we have made.
Jay, there's a lot of OK boomers in the chat. Don't look at it. You'll be all right.
Listen,
you'll be all right.
Is that a compliment?
No, forget it. Amad Diallo's been unveiled at Manchester
United. Amad Diallo is official. He looks happy, doesn't he?
What's happy
if you've seen the pictures. He's absolutely buzzing that he's there. He's coming. Now, if you don't know, this is the young lad that came from Atalanta. We signed him in the summer with a view to moving him in January, which is, of course, now.
Do you know part of that? We say that was because, we'll let him have 6 months at Atalanta. We'll let him just develop a little bit more.
Yeah.
I reckon we had no fucking idea of how to get that paperwork sorted. We barely... Jay, he's been unveiled. Let me just check my phone. Yeah, it's the 13th of January.
Yeah.
Like, it's taken 2 weeks into the January transfer window for us to get him, let alone trying to finish it off at the end of last season. I don't think we'll loan him back for 6 months. You don't know how to get paperwork sorted in 6 months. It's taken, 3 months. 3 months and 13 days it's taken to get that work permit sorted. Why was he not announced on the 1st? He could have been training for 2 weeks by now. We've owned this player, or owned the contract to this player. Obviously, we don't own players. But we've had this contract for this player to join Manchester United for 3.5 months. It was like, 13th, unveiled him. Get him in on the 1st.
And to be fair, it's not like he was getting lots of games at Atalanta. Despite the fact that they did want to keep him there, they wanted to keep him until the end of the season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says no. Joe's got his own theory on that. It's the fact that we just wanted to get him in here earlier, but we couldn't because of the paperwork.
I do think that.
Shock horror, I'm going to be honest with you now, guys. I don't know a lot about Amad Diallo, but I haven't been watching the Atalanta youth team very much, very often.
The 23 minutes he's played for the first team this season, Jay, have told the world about this young man.
I've seen a bit on YouTube, seen some clips, but Gabriel Obertan put me off looking at YouTube clips to judge players. But we spoke to Fabrizio Romano last week,
we did,
who based in Italy, and said he'd been speaking to a lot of people around Atalanta, and they were raving about him. They say he's been great in training, he was great for the youth team. They wanted to keep him because he's been amazing. And Romano said he was surprised that someone like a Juventus didn't come in for him. And he called this move by Manchester United a very smart move. Now, it's not often you hear very smart on Manchester United in the same sentence.
No, unless it starts with not very.
Yeah, exactly.
Bit of a joke there, Jay. Carry on, lad.
Just an example of some of the last we have here. Now, one thing that you may sort of
As
balk
in,
at...
not very smart. He gets it, but carry on.
So you got it.
One thing you may balk at
is the fact that he's 37 million quid, Joe.
Yeah, well, that's assuming he completes the parameters required for the add-ons to be paid, isn't it, Jay?
It is, because it's like when we sing Tony Marshall, 50 million came from France.
Yeah.
He wasn't 50 million quid.
Was he like 35?
He was 30, yeah, such a bargain. No, I'm not knocking him, but, you know, such a massive difference.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's with add-ons if he wins the Ballon d'Or, if he plays 100 games, if he scores 100 goals, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be 37
It's something like
million.
19 million to start with, which is still, let's be honest, a hell of a lot for an 18-year-old who's played, you know, less than a handful of games for the first team of his club, which isn't...
A pinch of games, then.
A pinch, a
less
sprinkle,
than a,
a dash.
Sprinkle, yes.
You know, what else? A touch, a tipple.
A tipple.
A soupçon of games.
Soupçon of games, eh?
But for what you know, experience to pound, he's about as expensive a player as I've ever seen, if I'm honestly, you know, being honest with you. 19 million, could go up to, like you said, 40 or 39 with potential add-ons. Now, we don't know the details of those add-ons. Could be some of those, you know, Ballon d'Or type stuff in there. And whilst I would be slightly surprised if he won it, I wouldn't be surprised if that was in there, because we like doing that with everyone. I think we tried to put that in Dan James's
we tried to put the one with Wan-Bissaka, didn't we? That we'll win the Champions League, and then we'll give it, and they went, you're not even in the Champions League, and we don't think you're going to win it. So just give us the 50 million quid that we asked for in the first place, because you're not having him. And we went, all right.
Yeah, exactly.
That was our negotiating tactic, worked swimmingly. So yeah, Diallo is joining the squad. Do you expect to see much of him this season for the Manchester United first team? When
you say much, I don't expect him to come in and by the end of the season, he starts every game at right wing. I do expect him to play for the first team this season, yeah, I do. Looking as the games are going, it will have to depend on who we draw after Liverpool in the FA Cup when we beat them next weekend.
That's the spirit.
It will depend on who we draw after we beat Real Sociedad in the Europa League, because if we get City and Sevilla, or no, I don't know if Sevilla are even in it this year, but you know what I mean, if we get two difficult ties in the next round, you may not see him. If we get, you know, Cheltenham when they beat Man City, for instance, in the 5th round, then you might see the likes of Diallo or these sorts of players. Hopefully, he gets a chance to come in. He looks good. For that kind of money, obviously what you're paying for is the next 5 years of his services, not the next 6 months. But for that kind of money, I would hope he's of a quality that he can be on the subs bench at least for a few games. Let's hope we're 3-4-0 up in a game at some point. It doesn't seem likely these days because we win everything by one goal, which is fine.
I felt sorry, you know, for Igalo against Watford.
Yeah.
Because I thought we had that little cushion, he would have got a little run.
He definitely would have got.
Do you know what I mean? And there's no fans there. Would have been nice for him against his old club.
Yeah.
But it wasn't to be. We've got a super chat from Abhishek Paddy. He says, any good luck charms or superstitions, Jay and Joe? Willing to do anything to get a result on Sunday. Happily, nervous already. Great work, guys. Thank you. Appreciate your support as well.
You have a pot of yoghurt and then you sprinkle cat litter on it and call it your special granola, don't you, before matches?
My dinner is nothing to do with you. My pre-match meal has got nothing to do with you or the viewers. Keep that to yourself. Yeah, my only superstition, right, which is not a superstition. It doesn't work, but I still do it.
Right.
I have a turnstile I always go through when I go to the game.
Yeah.
Now, I've been through that turnstile under Fergie, under Moyes, under Van Gaal, under Mourinho.
Yeah.
It's not lucky.
You think it's your lucky turnstile?
Yeah, but like, I've seen us
You've probably
get beat
seen us lose 100 games going through that
I've seen us get beat off, like, you know, Leeds going through that turnstile. And I've seen us beat, like, you know, Inter Milan or whatever. So it's, you know, it is, but it's in my, I have to go through that turnstile. Which is problematic now, because with the searches you used to get, it just took ages sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I don't really have any other superstitions?
I don't really have any superstitions or lucky charms or anything. I'm not. No, the only
That's
thing
not true, Joe. Joe, even whatever your name is, whoever you are. Come on.
Did you say Jay?
I'm Jay.
Yeah, you're Jay. I'm Joe. We can swap for one video, but not this video.
We got it in the end. We both know you've got a massive superstition.
Which is?
Before the match, you like to rub Andy McCullough?
No, I don't. Not in these times, I don't.
Not in COVID times.
I do a Bartes.
Yeah.
Laurent Blanc on
Yeah,
Bartes.
you kiss his head.
I kiss his head. No, I don't really have any. I've never really had any superstitions or lucky charms or anything. Even when I played football and you see people putting, not to any high standard, but even as youth.
What are you laughing at
as
off
teenagers,
camera there,
you'd see people have to put this sock on and the boot on one foot, this sock and the boot on the other foot. Andy Tate always kisses his necklace, all that sort of thing.
His necklace? His necklace?
Necklace.
Necklace? What sort of a way is that to say necklace?
Oh, sorry. Is it a lace that you wear around your neck, Jay? Or is it a luss that you wear around your neck? You tell me. It's up to you. Andy
Get
Tate,
involved in the comments,
Andy
let us know,
Tate
necklace or necklace.
His necklace. I won't say it again. And but no, I've never had anything like that, no.
Right,
A lot of
interesting.
footballers do that, don't they?
Yeah. I have one superstition that people who watch along will know. I won't watch penalties.
Yeah.
I won't, man. But my mate started that. No, I started in Moscow. I didn't go to Moscow. I started when John Terry stepped up for Moscow.
Oh, dear.
I didn't watch that because I'd
missed.
stormed off and he missed. I'd stormed off out of the pub and then I had to run back because I heard all the cheering. Obviously, I was happy about it. And then my mate, he doesn't watch him. So in solidarity with him, because I stand next to him at Old Trafford when we're allowed in, I started turning with him. And then when I didn't turn, I watched it against Crystal Palace and Marcus missed.
Right.
So that's done with that. So I can't watch penalties now.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
People saying it's necklace, but it's pronounced necklace. Well,
someone's asked as well. Conor Allen says, "Jay, did you watch the Moscow Pens?" I was watching him until that John Terry one, which is when I'd stormed out and the local boozer.
Right, should we move on?
Yes, we shall.
Next topic.
The next topic, of course, is the small matter of the Scousers.
Very small matter.
The Liverpool game.
Oh, it's a big one, this, Jay.
I mean, it is.
Have we seen bigger in recent years? Honestly.
Is this the biggest game since Stockholm?
Ooh. Do you know what I would say yes?
Yeah.
Because you can talk about the PSG game and retroactively say how big it was.
Yes.
But at the time, going out to PSG wouldn't have been, we didn't really think we'd go from where we were that night to winning the Champions League regardless, as was proven about 3 weeks later when we got drubbed by Barcelona.
Yeah.
But this game is the culmination of 11 months of changed form. That PSG game was the culmination of 2 months of changed form.
Yeah.
This is that was surreal, win after win after win after win when Solskjaer first came in. This is the first time. I mean, again, I know we got 81 points under Jose, but we don't have to say it again. It was never a title race. This is we've been the best team in England since the end of January, and it's now halfway through the next January.
Yeah.
This game, to go 6 points clear of Liverpool, to keep Man City off us, because let's not forget, if we drop points in this game, City can go above us when they win the games in hand. So it's not as though, even if we draw, we're still 3 points ahead of Liverpool. We are, but City go ahead of us.
Yeah.
So this game is, again, the culmination of what has been 11 months in the making and proof that United aren't just, you can win a few games here and there, but we're going to be scrapping for fourth. This is the sort of mentally where we go, we're not just decent, we are one of the best teams in England and we're going to prove it at Anfield, at a team that haven't lost at home in 65 games, I think it is. It is a huge game mentally as much as the 3 points. Obviously, no 3 points is worth any more than any other. But in terms of pushing us on for the rest of the season, the mentality this will give us, the affirmation of you lot are right to think you're in for something here, would be gigantic if we won it. And yeah, I think the biggest game since the Europa League final.
No, I agree. I think it is, and I think you made great points. Everything you just said there, I completely agree with. I think you can look back in retrospect and go, oh, well, that game was bigger,
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest in the third round in the 1990 FA Cup run was one of the most important games of Manchester United's history. Didn't feel like it at the time.
No.
But when you look back, you go, actually, if that result had been different or if that hadn't have happened, it wouldn't have led to A, C or B. A, B or C, if you can get that right.
Whatever, either way
Homeschooling's going really well, by the way.
Your son's teaching you, is
yeah.
Dad, it's
Having to Google the answers.
A, C, B.
So yeah, I get where you're coming from with that. And the nerves are kicking in. A few people in the comments. Let us know what your predictions as well. I see Romy Patel saying United win 3-2. You know what? United 3-2 with a 97th minute, Bruno Fernandes VAR inspired penalty injects it into my veins.
Here's what happens.
Go on.
We have a corner. Harry Maguire wins the header.
Yeah.
Is fouled.
Yeah.
Referee doesn't give it. ball goes up the other end. Liverpool score in the 97th minute to win the game.
Yeah.
VAR, bring it back, penalty to United, goal.
Bruno, yes.
That's how we won it.
Do you know what?
Ruling out a goal for them to win it, and we win it.
And the meltdown will be biblical.
Yes. JD Pathania said, will Ji-Sung Park fit into this team in his prime? Yeah. I don't know if he'd start every week. He'd be very much a rotation piece, I think, in there.
I think, yeah, because he's a funny one, isn't it, Ji-Sung Park? Because he was like, you could bring him in and you could play him as part of a front three almost. You could play him in midfield. He could play a little bit more wide if he needed to. He played it, you know, I think it was at the 2008 Barcelona semi-final.
He got into United's team when we won the Champions League double.
Because this is the thing with Ji-Sung Park. I think Fergie said it was one of the most difficult decisions of his career. Was I think Ji-Sung Park played in the semis against Barca, and in the Chelsea final, he wasn't even in the squad. No, that's how good our squad was then.
And he still got in it.
Yeah, you had a player like that who you couldn't even make the bench. So I agree with Joe. I think he's rotation, but definitely start most games because he's an absolutely fantastic player. One of the most underrated players that we've had. Looking at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's quotes, you can see that on the screen. He says, going into the Liverpool game, what a brilliant position to be in. We know it's going to be hard. What an unbelievable 3.5 seasons Liverpool have had, but we're ready and excited for it. I like the fact he says that. What
a brilliant position to be in.
And what an unbelievable 3.5 seasons Liverpool have had.
Do you not like that?
I do. I like that.
Why?
I don't know. Somehow it feels like it's a little bit.
It feels like he's saying 3.5 and out. Like, rather than, 3.5 not out.
It's like he's saying, like, how long have you been there, Jurgen? What, 5 years? Yeah, you've had a good 3.5 years of that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Let's not talk about the first bit.
Yeah, exactly.
When
you finished 7th.
Exactly, and lost, what was it, the League Cup final?
The
City. Pathetic.
Yeah.
I agree with. I was glad to see what Ollie's saying there. A lot of positive vibes. We all know that, innit? Says the right thing, doesn't he, Ollie?
Yeah. Generally speaking, he does. And I think that under certain managers, you sort of think, well, he said the right thing, but I don't think he means that. Whereas Ollie, there was a video that's gone around on Reddit. I don't know if anyone's seen it, about Ollie doing a mastermind type quiz about Manchester United, and there was questions like, who was the first manager to win a European trophy with Manchester United? What was United's? How much did United sign Roy Keane for, or Eric Cantona for? All these things where it's like, not every United fan knows these questions. One of them then was the question, what was the attendance when Manchester United played Arsenal last season? And he went, it was just under 76,000, 73,580. It was like 73,582. It was he knew the attendance to United versus Arsenal the season before. This is how much this man knows and loves about Manchester United. He's not like some bloke who, make sure you read this book before you start managing because you're going to get asked questions about the rivalry with Liverpool and you have to go, I've never known anything about Man United, but what a rivalry, eh? This is someone who's lived, experienced and known what it actually means to be a United fan and be a United player. So when he says this stuff, you never think, does he mean it or is it all about him? He loves Man United as much as any of us. Yeah. And, I think that comes across the way he manages, the way he treats his players, and the results we're getting feels better and more sustainable than it has under previous managers because he's not faking it.
Do you think Ollie's the type of person that applauds when they announce the attendance?
Hey!
When the people clapping.
Brilliant.
Today's attendance is 74,362. I'd like to thank you for your support.
Another stunning turnout. Well done, everyone. Well done.
I've seen people doing that.
Each and every one of you. Yeah. Each and every one of you.
We've been like 1-0 down at home to Southampton and people going, yeah.
Mate, what are you doing?
You don't get that at the Etihad.
You don't get that.
That's what I always say.
What, because it starts with a 7, not a 3?
Exactly.
Very good. Very good.
See what I'm saying to you. Yeah, Joe.
Yes.
Sum up to me, through the medium of dance, how nervous you are going into this game, mate. Because we've been talking about this. And it feels like one of them things, like when you've got a court case pending and you're talking about other stuff and then all of a sudden you think, I'm in court next week.
Yeah,
you just can't get it out of your head.
I know all about that, yeah. I know all about that.
It's like one of them, and we'll be talking about something, and then it'll just, like, the conversation will be like, what do you reckon on Sunday? Do you reckon we've got a chance?
Yes, Humyad, if that's true...
What's that?
Big news in the basketball world. We've got to ignore that, though.
We've definitely got a chance. Let's ignore that.
We've definitely got a chance.
Yeah.
Because we are above them in the league. We are Man United.
We
can win anyone.
No!
Yeah.
Don't give me that.
I'm going to say it. No, I'm joking. I don't mean that.
We're Man United. All right, okay then.
I love it when people are like, this is Man United, You're like, sorry, what does that mean? You can use that sentence at any time to describe anything. Should Fosu-Mensah have gone to Bayer Leverkusen? We're Man United. You're like, okay, say no more. No, of course we can. we're top of the league.
Yeah.
Liverpool have got no centre-backs, which we'll talk about in just a moment.
Yes.
United are going through the best form of anyone in the country for the last 12 months.
Yeah.
Other than the fact, and as we discovered before, United are currently going through their worst head-to-head form against Liverpool since the early 70s.
Yes.
One win in the last 10 against Liverpool.
That is so bad, right?
That's a staggeringly
How has
bad
that
stat,
happened,
isn't it?
Joe?
So, other than the fact that recent history tells you we don't beat Liverpool, and the fact that they never lose at home, other than those things, Jay, we are Man United. No. Of course we can. It's going to be really hard. And it's going to be... That's one of the reasons why it's such a big game.
Yeah.
And why it would mean so much to beat them. Isn't just because, we've played Liverpool during times under Ferguson when you always talk about Liverpool being the biggest rivalry. And for me, it's the game I want to win more than any other. But there were times when beating Liverpool was no real achievement. They'd come to Old Trafford, we'd beat them, we'd go to Anfield and we'd get a draw.
Yeah.
Whereas now, you beat Liverpool and you've beaten the best team in England. And you've, as I said before, established yourself as the dominant team in the league and the team with the most to lose, which remains to be seen how we handle that pressure. But if we win this game and go 6 points ahead of Liverpool, it's absolutely gigantic. But of course we can do it. But it is, let's not underestimate this, it's going to be a massive, massive task.
What does Ollie do for this game? Does he go for it, go for it? Does he go Bruno, Pogba, Mason, Martial, Rashford? Do you know what? Cavani. No, but does he go for it or does he do a Jose-esque type? Fred, Scott, maybe even three at the back, I don't know. Just...
It's interesting that you mentioned that.
Do you know what I mean? Because
there's two ways of thinking about this. One is a draw is good enough.
Yeah.
And I can't say I disagree with that line of thought, to be honest.
It's understandable.
We leave Anfield 0-0, 1-1, 2-2, whatever it may be. You go, right, we're happy with that. It was always going to be a massive task to win.
Yeah.
We haven't dropped points. We beat Fulham now. Yeah. That's 7 points from the Burnley, Liverpool and Fulham games. Great.
Let's not forget as well, Liverpool aren't in great form.
No, they're not. So, and that's worth bearing in mind.
If you look at it in the grand scheme of things for them in the last 5 games or whatever, that would be like, 4 points or 3 points out of 4 games. But go on.
But exactly, to your point, but because Liverpool have barely got any centre-backs, they're not in great form. If we go there and did what we did under Jose, as I'm sure you'll be able to elaborate on slightly, and we play for a draw when we're the team in the ascendancy, they're the team that looks to have stagnated a little bit in terms of form, we go there and go, we're scared of you, we're going to sit back and let you dictate this game. That, and even if we get a draw or, heaven forbid, go there, play like that and lose, that could set us back months. That could set us back to the point,
100%.
Actually, they are the dominant team, we are the underdog, and they proved it today. I think it's going to be a really fine balance for Ollie to find because there's no one right answer. The right answer is the one that gets us 3 points, but I'd be honest, I can't really say what it is. What do you think?
No, I'm of the opinion, and I'm always like this anyway because I'm just bloody stupid, that we just go for it. You mentioned there about the game under Jose when we got the 0-0. Me and you were talking about this upstairs before.
Yeah.
And it's like that game was it was a seminal game now. People think a 0-0 at Anfield in October or whatever it was. How was it that important? United were flying. We'd been like 4-0 FC all of a sudden, which sort of came from nowhere under Jose. Lukaku scoring loads of goals. Pogba, Mkhitaryan, Rashford and Martial swapping and always one of them seeming to score. Liverpool haven't won in 8 games. They were sort of struggling. People beginning to question Klopp. He's in his 3rd season. We're not going anywhere. It's, the Scouts will deny it, but they did. You can see it. It was on social media at the time. They were like, is he really the man for the job? And we didn't go for it. They got that point. They built on that. It was 0-0.
Yeah.
They sort of played it as, we should have had a penalty. United didn't go for it. We were the attacking team. They were the defending team. They kicked on, actually. Ended up going to the Champions League final. They finished below us in the league, but they got to the Champions League final. The fans started believing in Klopp. They went on this sort of wonderful journey to the Champions League final, which they built on, and then won it the next year round, which you don't need to go into for obvious reasons. United never really kicked on.
No.
We then went on not long after that, lost at home to City, which more or less ended our title race. A lot of the players as well, and I'm not ITK, you know me, but I've heard from reliable sources, reliable journalists, that a lot of the players were frustrated and angry at the way we went to that game in Anfield. They felt we should have gone for it. They felt they should have been allowed to go for it. They felt we were the better team. We would have, like you just said there, you're almost going, we're not as good as you, so we're going to shut up shop because we can't possibly go toe-to-toe with you guys as we'll lose, which is Jose's way away from home anyway. He always goes for 0-0. Even when he was at Chelsea and he got the infamous 2-0 win over Chelsea with Demba Ba scored, he didn't go for it then.
No.
He just, Steven Gerrard helped him.
Yeah.
So I think we need to go for it. And I think for the reasons you've said, we are top of the league for a reason. Yeah. We have got the players as well. We can hurt Liverpool. And we're going to get onto Liverpool's injuries and their defensive problems in a minute. But, you look at Bruno Fernandes, you look at Paul Pogba, who's playing some of the best football of his career. Marcus Rashford always produces. I don't care whether he's not having a good game. He'll find a goal or an assist from somewhere. Edinson Cavani is always a handful. And also, Anthony Martial and Mason Greenwood, complete wild cards, capable of hurting anyone on their day. No, they're not having the best of seasons, but you can never write them off. So we've got players that can hurt any team.
And something as well, I think the semi-final against City the other night, or last week, whenever it was, that we lost, obviously. I think the way United approached that was as though we are as good as Manchester City. I know they had a lot of possession and they played the ball quite well, but we were very willing to press them and push up against them and say, we're a team that can go toe-to-toe with you and beat you. Obviously, we didn't beat them, and it was proven not to be the case. But the season before the home game, when we sort of sat back and just got demolished in the first half, I felt much more dejected after that game than I did the other night, because I think we did show them a little bit, we can make chances against you, we can force you into mistakes and try and take the game to you. So I think it's possible that there are more damaging draws at the weekend and there are less damaging losses potentially. It just depends how we go about it. Obviously, we don't want to lose, but we can't leave that game thinking, we acted like they were better than us, and they only were better than us because we let them be. That's what we can't allow.
I think if you look at our strongest 11 and their strongest 11,
not much in it.
There's not much in it. No. And you might laugh at that and you go, well, they finished 33 points above us last season. That was last season. And they're missing one of their best players. In pains me to say, but it's true. Arguably the best defender in the Premier League, Virgil van Dijk, he's out. And they've also got other injury problems, which I'm going to move on to. Liverpool, they've got as well, Joel Matip, I think, is he's out now. He's been out for, I think it's sort of the end of December. They're hoping to have him back, but he's not been training. So it looks like he won't be fit for the game against us, which obviously gives you a little bit of an advantage as a United fan, and you can make the old argument, I'd just rather they had all their players available and beat their strongest team, and I get that, but it looks like he's not available. Naby Keita, who I don't think has played since December the 19th or around that time, he's looking doubtful as well. He's not been training. These are the reports coming out of, I think it's the Manchester Evening News who've got it. Okay, you can argue the Manchester Evening News isn't the most reliable, but even a broken clock's right twice a day. So I think, have picked it up from reports of Liverpool. So if they are missing players, and they're already missing Van Dijk, I know that on the flip side to that, Thiago's sort of come back from his injury. He played against the children of Aston Villa. I think he came on, didn't he, for the last half hour or whatever it was. So you'd expect him to maybe come into the team. But they're not at the strongest. No. And you think, United at the minute, touch wood, injury-wise, we've not had an injury crisis like we normally have we?
It'll be interesting to see, because Matic looked like he was holding his groin the other night. Tony Marshall limped off the pitch the other night. And I don't know if part of that was masking the fact that he just missed a sitter.
Do you feel I saw this on social media? Because he missed a bit of a sitter, didn't he? Bless him, Tony M. And then obviously, I do that in five-a-side when I get skinned by a 14-year-old.
Ankle's gone. I went to step on it and it rolled. That's why I missed the shot.
That's why he's just danced past me like I'm not here.
So
we'll wait and see. But even if Martial isn't fit, we've still got other options.
Yeah, we have. And we'll talk about them in just a second. Bit of an update. Spurs currently drawing 1-1 with Fulham, and Moises Caicedo's gone to Brighton, apparently. That's confirmed.
Well, that was a weird one, wasn't it? Because Moises Caicedo, who was linked with us for the last month and a half.
Yeah.
And, not just linked with us via tweets, but some sort of respected journalists were saying there's a little bit of fire to the smoke. This could happen. United are looking at him. The problem you've got with United is that there's two problems. One, we have a database and a list that is massive. Yeah. It's got hundreds of players on it.
It basically encompasses every remotely possible player in the entire world.
Yeah. No, it does. I mean,
literally. Yeah. 400 right backs.
You're not even being facetious there. You're spot on. You're right. The Wan-Bissaka one's a great example. We had, how many was it?
400.
400, and we narrowed it down to the most obvious one there could be. But we still had, so you could have picked one of those 400 right backs if you wanted to and go, United are looking at him, and you'd be right. We had it last season with David Brooks from Bournemouth, and it was United looking at David Brooks, and people go, David Brooks? You've never heard of him, mate. What, him? Barely gets a game for Bournemouth. What are we looking at him for? What, we're not going to get Jadon Sancho, we're going to get David Brooks. And we spoke to someone from The Athletic, Peter Rutzler, who covered Bournemouth, and he said that it's just going to be that he's on United's list. He's a good player, and I think he could go into United's squad and do a job as a squad player. But I'm not surprised they're looking at him, because United look at lots of players. Doesn't mean we're about to spend 40 million quid on him. So the Caicedo one, it seems a similar thing of young player on our list. We could have got him if we wanted him. We didn't want to go that far. And where's he gone to? Is it Brighton?
Yeah.
No disrespect, but the fact that he's going to Brighton maybe signals that he wasn't quite at the standard we were looking at. So I'm not really losing my mind with that. Guys, get involved in the comments. Hit the like button as well. Give us some more likes, and I'll read out some of your comments as well. Lots of people saying that Fulham are level with Spurs. Spurs, Fulham 1-0. Someone else, Darcy Sweeney, says Brighton's not Manchester United. Facts. Well said. Facts. Nothing but facts. What else is it? Sorry, I'm just struggling to say there.
Lads, it's Tottenham, never a true word spoken. Yeah. They've only conceded, I think, 16 goals this season, which isn't surprising when you see the way they play.
Tottenham.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sat back against Wolves all game. Would you believe it? And they got still conceded.
You know when you see it, like I've seen Jose Mourinho firing shots at Scott Parker.
Yeah.
About, is he going to pick his strongest team after he's moaned about the fixtures and all this other stuff. And then you see Jose Mourinho questioning some of his players. And you think, there was a time when I liked Jose, but I'm just glad we're out of all that.
Yeah.
Because I think that, that could have been us, couldn't it? Shall we round off with an old favourite?
What would that be?
Koulibaly. Koulibaly.
Oh, here he is. Here he is. No one wants to buy you.
Close
so
your
you
eyes,
have to get your mates to go on the radio and say you're worth 100
million. The year is 2019.
Go on.
Right? It's 2019.
Furious, mate.
Yeah, Manchester United have just lost at home to Cardiff. We didn't make the Champions League. It's summer. We're looking at centre-backs. We've been linked with Harry Maguire. We've been linked with another lad called Kalidou Koulibaly. Most people want Koulibaly. Some people want Harry Maguire. We end up with Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
But for reasons that have yet to be made obvious to me, 18 months later, we're now still being linked with him.
Yes.
And bizarrely, the price for this 29-year-old hasn't gone down.
Doesn't tend to go down, does it, for that fella?
Stayed
Despite
the same.
him, never winning anything in his career, getting close to 30, having been perennially linked with every top club in the world and no one fancying him, still worth 100 million, isn't he? The owner, Aurelio De Laurentiis, has warned Manchester United. He's warned us, Jay. So consider yourself warned, United and Liverpool, that we must offer at least 100 million quid if you want to sign him this month. Right. Well,
that's
I guess we're going to have to offer 100 million then, Jay, because he said it.
I've warned Rihanna to stop coming round to my house in Eccles.
Yeah.
That warning, because that's never going to happen. We're not going to pay 100 million, and we don't want him. So thanks for the warning, but I think we'll be okay. Are you surprised that this is still going or even being spoken about? Because it's surely the chance has gone now, isn't it?
I think Koulibaly is one of those players that his whole career has been trying to sell him for a record fee. Or you can look at it the other way, slightly less cynical way, and say Napoli never wanted to sell him, so they could set a fee of 100 million because we don't want to sell him, but if we have to, well, let's set some ludicrous figure. I would not, and I'll say this, straight swap, no cash exchanged, I would not swap him for Harry Maguire.
I wouldn't either.
Honestly wouldn't.
I think that would be an absolutely mental move if you said, if they wanted it, and we went, okay.
Let us know in the comments, would you swap? Napoli say, no fee, no nothing, we'll swap you Koulibaly for Harry Maguire. Would you swap him?
Go on.
I know that you can criticise certain parts of Maguire's game, and I know people have quite, liberally. But you look at Maguire last night, I think he was brilliant. You look at him against City, I think he was excellent. I think, generally speaking, he's been solid and very good for United. You have no idea what Koulibaly's like. No one, let's be honest, unless, I'm sure there's Italian people watching, I'm sure there's people watching who do watch Napoli. Generally speaking, we've probably all seen a handful of games of Koulibaly against Liverpool, against Real Madrid, these Champions League games that he's played in.
Played against Arsenal once, didn't he?
And I don't think he's been particularly fantastic in any of the games I've seen, which admittedly is not enough of a scouting report, I'll be the first to say that. But I keep saying it, look at what Chris Smalling did at Roma. He was one of their best players. He got in one of the teams of the year in Italy last season. And I'm sure Koulibaly is a great player, but this thing of touting him around Europe for 100 million quid for 5 years in a row. Sorry, but at some point, players go down in value. And I just wouldn't take that risk. I think Harry Maguire is a very good centre-back.
Harry Maguire is a very good centre-back, and I think he had his issues at the beginning of the season, and I think that what had gone on in the summer may have played a part in that. And I was gutted he got his goal disallowed against Burnley, because it was a goal, and he deserved it as well, because it was a perfect header, arguably for once, heading in the opposition box anyway. He's very good defensively. And he did a great performance, and it would have been, the headlines this morning would have been, Captain Fantastic and Harry Maguire's amazing and all this. And instead it was, nothing wrong with it. The headline's been about Paul Pogba at all. But I feel he was a little bit hard done by, because there was nothing wrong with that goal. No. And more than just that goal, or that disallowed goal, he's been playing very well recently.
Master Coda there says... sorry.
Go on.
He's played very well recently, doesn't get
enough credit, I think, from certain... I think the problem is, when Harry Maguire had some bad games, straight away people are like, he's not a captain.
Yeah.
He's not worth 80 million quid. And there's this thing, and it's not just with football, it's with anything on social media. Sometimes people feel like they have to stick with that opinion. There's a lot of people, and I get it, don't like to say, I've changed my mind. Even if that could be about the manager, it could be about certain players.
Every walk of
about
life,
anything about Brexit or whatever.
Yeah.
They go, I'm sticking with my opinion. And it's all right to say, you know what, he wasn't playing well, now he is.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything sort of particularly sort of scandalous about those statements. But recently, I think he's been much better. And I rate Harry Maguire at the... Go on.
There was a comment there, Master Coda said, this guy's tapped if he thinks Maguire is better than Koulibaly. And I didn't say, I think Maguire is better than Koulibaly, which I do, funnily enough. What I said is, I wouldn't swap him. And part of that is because we're halfway through a season. Part of that is because, again, it's the toughest league in the world, but moving to any different league, whether it's Maguire going to Italy, someone going to Spain, whatever, when you move country, move league, change your life to another country, sometimes your skill set doesn't work in another league. Sometimes you don't get on with the weather, the food, the internet provider at the new place. It doesn't always work when people move to a different country and a different club. And I wouldn't take that risk. I know Harry Maguire is a very good defender, and I'm not certain that Koulibaly is. That's all it is. I'm sure he's very good, but I think Maguire, honestly, I think he's excellent, generally speaking.
And I think now is not the time for us to... I know this is a sort of hypothetical, but Harry Maguire, he's settled. It seems to be settled quite nicely in that defence. Defensively looking a little bit better. I know we've still got slight issues, but recently, helps. One of the big reasons that we're sat at the top of the table is because of our defence, and Harry Maguire in particular. And it would be a gamble for a player as well who's 29. And also, he's been at Napoli for how many years is it? We'll just bring it up. Some quick maths, 7 years, is it?
Quick maths,
yeah. 7 years or 6.5 years. Now, no disrespect to Napoli. This isn't a Juventus. This isn't a Real Madrid.
They've won roughly bastard all in that time.
Yeah, and
I think maybe they've won a cup, if that.
Yeah. He's won the Coppa Italia.
One.
Yeah.
He's won one trophy in 7 years.
Yeah,
and
it's like
it's
if he
Ramos.
was amazing, it'd probably be like Juve or Real Madrid or Barcelona come in, and his owner wouldn't be going on Talk Sports as it all, saying 100 million euros or 100 million pounds for him. I think his chance is gone. I think that's not happening. But
United Forever podcast there says Bayer is Harry's bulletproof vest, and I think
that's a good point as well, because that partnership is beginning to shine, isn't it?
Bulletproof vest, I think, is a slightly derogatory way towards Maguire to say that. I think what you can actually say is, I think Maguire has looked equally excellent alongside Eric Bailly. I think their skill sets complement each other very well. I think there's a great partnership in the making there. And I don't think it's that Bailly has made Maguire look great. I think they've both individually and collectively been very good, and I don't think we need to change that.
No, I think if you go back to the City game in the Carabao Cup, which we didn't want to win anyway, other than the corner.
I know I didn't.
Yeah, I thought he played well. And against Burnley, I thought him and Bailly were both excellent, really. I think it was both sort of like an 8 out of 10 performance from the pair of him. So that's what we've sort of needed. At times with Lindelof and Maguire, one of them doesn't have a great game, or one of them looks a little bit out of sorts. And it's always like, you wouldn't say either of them's a bad defender, and there's been games where they've both played well, but far too often than not, you're going, doesn't quite seem to work then. I don't know what it is, whether it's not,
But again, you look at
the pace of one of them, or is it whatever, just doesn't quite seem to be comfortable. But Harry Maguire seems to have grown in confidence when he's got Eric Bailly next to him. He's bringing out the ball more out of defence, which is, what I see from him, because he's very good at that. And also, seems to have a better understanding. You see, the knowing, like, when one of them goes to the man and when one of them drops in and all that sort of stuff, where sometimes with Lindelof, it's almost like they're playing together for the first time. Now, if an injury happens to Eric Bayer, which it invariably does most seasons, I'm not saying I'll be like, oh my God, Lindelof and Maguire, we can't trust them two together. It's just not as good as Eric Bayer and Harry Maguire.
Yeah, and again, like you said, I think Harry Maguire, when he first came in, for the first 2 or 3 months, I think he was good but not great. I think when he was given the captaincy, for the rest of the season, he was actually very good. I think he had a bit of a rough patch at the start of this year, and I think for the last 2 months, I'd say, he's been back to anywhere between very good and excellent. So, yeah, I don't think we need to replace Harry Maguire anytime soon.
Master Coda says the Maguire agenda is mad. He is an average centre-back at best.
Okay.
He's not really, though, is he?
No.
To be honest with you. Otherwise,
he
won't be playing every week for Manchester United, he won't be captain of Manchester United, and he won't be captain of the team that's sat top of the league.
Also, when you say average, as in like an average Premier League player, or just as good as one of your mates?
Romy Patel says, I never want to see Lindelof and Maguire ever. I think we have to be realistic about
they
this.
They got us within about 4 points of Liverpool.
And also,
with a game in hand.
I love Bayer's
played 5 games.
I love Eric Bayer, right?
Come on.
I love him, but there's one thing you have to remember. He does get injured.
Yeah.
He will get injured. You will see Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire playing together again this season, as sure as the day is long. So,
as Luke sure as the day is Shane Long, mate.
Be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Ross Murphy, I love the fact Ross Murphy does super chat. Bless him. I felt for Maguire last night. We are crying out for him to score these headed corners or crosses, and then when he does score, he gets shots off. I agree. I watched that about 372 times.
I've seen it so many times.
I know. Fuming. Even after we'd won, I was still fuming. And there was nothing wrong with it. And Eric Peters just sort of knew he was beaten and threw himself to the floor, basically, didn't he? Because it was never a foul. It wasn't a push. It was like, I'm jumping and my hand is there. Oh, it's a foul. Awful decision.
No. Ridiculous.
Ultimately, it didn't matter, but it'll matter to Harry Maguire because he would have wanted that goal and perhaps he could have needed it. I'm going to wrap up. Just guys, get involved in the comments just before I do. Let us know what you think about the fact that I said Victor Lingard then. Jesse Lingard looks like he's on his way. Fosu-Mensah has gone on his way. We're playing Liverpool in a top-of-the-table clash this Sunday. What is it you always say, Joe?
Better start believing in title races, Jay. You're in one.
You're in one.
Can we talk a little bit before we go? We'll get to
can you do what you want, you?
I just do help me. That's Yorkshire for I'll dare do anything, I will. This all may come crumbling to the ground on Sunday, so let's get it in while we can.
Okay, let's do this.
We've spent so long, 18 months or whatever it has been, having to even defend the mere existence of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as Manchester United manager.
Yes.
So long where the debate was, should he even be here?
Yes.
That we've not had a chance to reflect on what a great job he's done.
No.
Any other manager, they come in and it's you get given, usually speaking, a sort of 12 months or certainly 6 month grace period. People wanted him out before he'd even signed the contract to be Manchester United manager. So it's all been Ole in, Ole out. There's no nuance, there's no nothing. Let's just reflect for a couple of minutes on just how good Ole's been as Manchester United manager. He's completely changed the way that the club looks from the outside in. It's not a team full of players that hate each other. It's not a team full of players that hate their manager. It's not a team full of people that look as though they resent going out there every week. Even players like Paul Pogba, who is unanimously, agreed upon, he's leaving in the summer, is arguably playing some of his best football as a Man United player since we've agreed he can leave. He's not unsettled. Whilst he wants to go, and that's a different matter, partly because of his agent, partly not, he's come in and he's played excellently. We saw how Jose treated Pogba. We saw how Jose treated Martial. His man management has been excellent. His ability, and I think something that he was rightly criticised for early on, he waited too long to make changes as substitutes. He brought Cavani on against Everton at half-time, won us the game. Against Southampton, I can't remember who it was he brought on at half-time. Was it Martial or Rashford?
Came on as well against them, I think.
Cavani as well. He's willing to make changes earlier. The way he's rotated the midfield in this run of sort of 10 league games or so unbeaten, where you never know who you're going to get of Fred, McTominay, Van der Beek, Matic, Pogba. Any one of those 5 could start on any given night, and you trust all of them as much as you trust any of the other. I don't think I've ever seen that at Manchester United. And of all the times to do it, when we've got this compressed season with COVID and extra games on top of each other, it's been 2 games a week for God knows how long. The ability to sort of silently rotate this midfield and still keep up the performances is like very, very good management. And now it's coming to fruition to the point where we're top of the table. with almost half the season played, you've really got to applaud Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's done a brilliant job at United, hasn't he?
He has, mate, and I'm glad you said all those things because, you look at it and people say this, and Steve always picks up on this. Oh, Ole got the job, and I've heard these criticisms. He got the job because he scored that goal, a tap-in against Bayern Munich, like it didn't just win us the fucking treble. Do you know what I mean? What a way to describe that. Yeah. But he didn't. He got the job because he came in as caretaker manager and just kept winning every game. Yeah. And so the board were like, hang on a minute, maybe this guy is more than just a caretaker manager. He's got everyone playing well. He's settled the squad. He's brought us together. Under Jose, the club had become utterly toxic, and he sort of changed all that. Went on this run, got us into the conversation with top four, got us through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League when it looked like we were dead and buried, and then we sort of went on from there. Had his ropey patch as well, but you look at the 11 that he had available. Look at the squad. You had Pereira as a regular. You had Jesse Lingard in the worst form of his career as a regular. Paul Pogba was injured for months. Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford rarely played together. He had to cope with all these injuries. He brought in new signings. By and large, pretty much to a man, his signings have all been positive ones. I think if you could go back in time, you would make all of those signings again. Yeah. I don't think there's any one of them. Even Dan James, who's quite criticised, where you go, actually, I wouldn't buy him. Mate, I'd buy him just for the fucking goal against Leeds. I'm not kidding you. Seriously.
In the first 6 weeks of last season, which is not enough, admittedly, he was one of the only players scoring goals for United.
That's what I mean. So, and he was pretty much a bargain anyway. So all these signings by large have worked out, especially, of course, the main man, Bruno Fernandes. As you mentioned, getting the best out of Paul Pogba. He's getting the best out of other players. Marcus Rashford has never been more effective. Last season, Tony Marshall hit 23 goals for the first time in his career. And also, the most important thing, we're top of the fucking league.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't fluke that. He's not just stumbled across it.
We're not 3 games into the season.
Why couldn't Jose do it? Why couldn't Louis van Gaal do it? Those are managers who've won titles all over the continent. They've won Champions Leagues. They couldn't do it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can. For a reason. He's a very, very good manager, doing an excellent job at Manchester United Football Club. And listen, you know what? It was all right if you didn't rate him earlier. It was all right if after the Spurs game you said, I've had enough. I don't think this guy's cut out for it. Or any of those defeats I spoke about earlier in the show last season when we went away to, mid-table and lower league dross and lower table dross, and got beat. If you thought, I don't think this guy's up to it. But you know what? I think he's proven that he is, and I think we need to get behind him.
Yeah, it's all right to change your mind, isn't it? Exactly.
I know,
that's the theme of the show tonight. That's the motto.
I mean, me and you changed our mind, didn't we?
Yeah.
I didn't like you when I met you.
No.
Yorkshire.
No.
So all that about long hair, hippie, and you were like bald-headed, scally.
Leave it there.
And now we're best friends.
Yeah, now look at us. Can't separate us except by well over a metre at all times.
Of course. Just before we go, we've got a super chat by Terence Kirk.
Yes.
Hey, just wanted to say, Martial good, but not good enough for United in general. Not just him, but there is people make him out like he's the man. No way. Go quickly on that.
Yeah, I want to end on a positive note, so let's not talk about Tony Martial. No, he's not been good enough this season. Again, you've got to hold players to the standard of the role they are trying to fill at Manchester United. He hasn't been a successful number 9 this year. Hopefully he improves. I think he can. We saw it last season. But he needs to get his act together this year because otherwise you can end the season with, 10 goals in all competitions as United's number 9. He needs to improve. Hopefully he will. I think he will.
I think he will too. And I want him to start doing it at Anfield on Sunday when we play the Scousers in a top-of-the-table clash. We'll be here for that on the watch-along. Probably have no fingernails left because I'm so nervous. It's going to be absolutely unbearable, unless we win, of course. Joe will be there, Andy Tate will be there, Howson will be there. We'll have a reaction as well from Adam McCullough, so make sure you are checking that out on Sunday. We'll also have the previews leading up to that. Got loads of good stuff as well, including Howson's Brew on Friday with a very special guest. Other than Sir Alex Ferguson, who would you say has been integral to Manchester United's success in the noughties?
Off the pitch.
Off the pitch, in the noughties.
I would say it's got to be Rennie Meulenstein and Mike Phelan, I'd say.
It is Mike Phelan and Rennie Meulenstein. We spoke to them in the past, and I think it's time we spoke to one of them again, isn't it? So we're going to do that. We're going to have Rennie Meulenstein on the Brew on Friday, live as well, so you guys can get involved, put questions to him, ask him about the glory years under Sir Alex, and whether he thinks this side can win the league, because who better equipped to answer that question than someone that did it under the greatest manager in the history of association football. If you're not doing so already, check out the members section. Me and Joe did a members video today. We spoke to Laurie Whitwell, a bit of a transfer update with him as well. Extra content goes on there. That'll be out tomorrow. And we're also doing giveaways. We're recently giving away a PlayStation 5 and we're giving away other goodies as well.
Big merch giveaway coming up soon as well.
Big merch giveaway. As always, on the normal channel, the channel. We have great content as well. We do appreciate your support. Do subscribe if you're not doing so already. That's been Joe Smith. You know you can find him. I've been Jay Motti. This has been Stretford Paddock Live. Thanks for watching.